Hello, everyone. Today, I will be going over my project for week 3 and week 4 Promenade Tech Montana Code School. In this, I cover arrays and methods, and I also throw in some things with lists, like array list and also hash map. But I just kind of did that to make it seem to show people the difference. So in this, I was asked to create an array of integers, and this is what I came up with. It wanted me to get the first value and the last value, and this is what I came up with, and subtract the first value from the last value, and this is this right here. So this is the last value, this is the first value, and that prints out right here, and this right here is the value. So 17 minus 3 equals 14. Then it asked me to do a loop and get the sum and the average. So right here is my loop. This is the sum. So I took sum plus equals ages and I being in the for loop, and that iterates over the length of the array. So then I got my average from sum divided by the length of the array. And that prints out right here. And the average age is 27. Okay. So I tried to do this with a list. This wasn't required, but I just wanted to show the difference between this and this. So there's a little bit of a difference with the syntax here, but it all ends up doing the same thing. So I did the same thing of trying to get the value up here as down here, but you can see the syntax is a little bit different. So instead of ages dot length minus 1, what I'd have to do is age dot get age dot size minus 1, and then I'd get age dot get the first index, and that printed out right here. And since I only added the first 8 right here, I wanted to make sure that this worked for any length, not just what I had up here, but with any length. I made sure that I did that, and this is what I printed out with. So you can see that it comes out with 90 instead of 14. Why is that? So 93 minus 3 equals 90. So then I added 17, just like up here. And then I did the same thing, it's right here, but then I printed out the new age of last value and list minus the first value in the array. So that comes up with the same thing, just as that. So you can do it the same way. The cool thing with list is that you can add things on the fly afterwards. With array, you can't do that. So that's why list is superior. And this is just the same thing right here. It's the same as the array up here, but I did it with list. So that would be your average right here. It's all the same. So moving on. This one wanted me to create an array of string called names. It contains the following value: Sam, Tommy, Tim, Sally, Buck, Bob. So I just did a regular array for this. And here is my array. And right here, it wants me to use a loop to iterate through the array and calculate the average letters per name, and then print the results. So basically the same type of idea as the array above. So I'd have something called name sum, and I use names and my iterator right here. And then I take the length of that and it iterates it every time until it reaches the end of the array, the name sum length. And it prints it out, and I can I casted name sum to int instead of double, right? Because I started off with a double instead of an int. So I casted it as an int. And right there, this is what it prints out to. Sum of all letters in the array is 23. So then I did the average name sum dot the length of the array, and then it prints out right here. And the average letters per string in the array is 3.83. And Then it wanted me to concatenate all the names together. Okay, so the same type of thing. I brought a variable called concat names and plus equals names dot every iteration plus a space. And it prints out the concat names. And there it just shows you on one line, Sam, Tom, Tommy, Tim, Sally, Buck, and Bob. Okay. So the third one, this is just asking, how do you print the last element of the array? And that's it right there. Example, example.linked -1. That is the last element of the array. That's how you do it. It's a little bit different in lists, like I showed up above. It would be age.size -1, but it's kind of the same. It's the same type of thing, but there's just a little bit different syntax. And then let's scroll down here. The first element of the array, this is easy. It's always example 0, right? Whatever your name is, example, right? And then 0 is the first index of the array. Okay, so moving on. It says create a new array of int called name links, write a loop to iterate over the previously created and names array and add the length of each name to the name links array. So this is a new array. We have obviously 6 right here. So what I do here is another for loop, same type of thing going on. Names.length I, that's the iterator, equals names.iterator and the length of the array. So very simple stuff right there. And then number 6, it wants me to create a loop to iterate over the names linked array and calculate the sum of all the elements in the array. Print the result to the console. So the same type of thing going on here. We want to sum, and we want to get the name links of the iterator every time. So this is when it prints out. And right here, I have a string saying sum of the links of the names in the array, right here, equals new name sum and letters. So the new name sum is 23. Just like here, up here, we got 23. All right, so now it starts to get into the methods, and I don't have it written out right here, but this is printing out to the main. So now we'll go all the way down to our methods, which we're doing 7. So write a method that takes a string word, and an int n as arguments and return the word concatenated in itself n number of times. And then if it comes out as hello, the string, and then 3, and expects to return hello, hello, hello. So this is our method. We want to return a string, and it takes a string and an int. And then I just created a string variable called concat, and I set it as a null value. So for int, our iterator equals 0, I is less than our n, I plus plus, concat, plus equals the word, right? So the word that we're entering, every time we enter a number, it iterates that word over and over, and we return the concat. So we go down here. This is all of our main method stuff. So this is what I have, and the string value is hello, and then I have 3, just like the example. And once you know it, concatenated string method equals hello, hello, hello. Okay, so now we're moving on to 8. And this would be write a method that takes 2 strings, first name and last name, and returns a full name. The full name should be the first and the last name as a string separated by a space. So this is really easy. So we want to return a string, and we have a first name and a last name, right? So return first name plus a space plus last name. Very simple. And here I created a variable called first name and last name, Jimmy and Dean. And then I printed out full name method equals, and then I printed out the method, and it takes first name and last name, and once you know, prints out Jimmy Dean. Okay, number 9. Write a method that takes an array of int and returns true if the sum of all the ints in the array is greater than 100. So this is pretty easy too. So we want to return true or false, right? So we need a Boolean, right? That's what we're returning. And this is the method name, and we're taking an array, right? So I created a local variable called sum, and for every number in the array, the sum plus equals the numbers. So after it goes through every value in the array, it returns the sum is greater than 100. If sum is less than 100, it will return false, but if it's greater, it will return true. So let's go back to that. And right here, the ages, I ended up using ages for this one. Is it greater than 100? I believe it was like 200 and something. So it returned true. But then I tried it again with name lengths, and I believe that one was 23 or something like that, and that returned false. So that's how you do that method. So we have a few more methods left. So now we're on 10. With 10, it says, write a method that takes an array of double and returns the averages of all the elements in the array. So we're wanting to return a double, and we'll take a double array, right? So we get a sum, an average right here. So for the numbers in the array, sum plus equals the numbers, and average equals sum divided by the array length. And then I return the average. So let's go back up to that. And I created a double array right here, very simple on the fly array. And then I just got the average of the double array, and here you go. Average is 29.814125. So now on to 11. 11, write a method that takes two arrays of double and returns true if the average of the elements in the first array is greater than the average of the elements in the second array. So this one is a little bit more complex, but it's basically kind of similar stuff that we've been doing. We want it to be a Boolean, returning true or false, right? And then we take a double array and another double array. And these are basically, these are the same thing. We're just doing a lot of the same stuff as we're doing before. But the only difference is we're taking the average of one and return it, is it greater than the average of two, right? So let's go back up to that. And I created a new array, right? So I take this array, new double array, and new array. And does the first array have a greater average than the second array? And then I get the method, double array, new double array, and the average is true. It is, the first array is greater than the second array as far as average. Okay, on to number 12. Write a method called will buy drink that takes a Boolean is hot outside and double money in pocket and returns true if it is hot outside and if money in pocket is greater than 1050. So this is simple. So we want a Boolean, right? It's true or false. Then we take the Boolean is hot outside, and then we take the double money in pocket. So is hot, return is hot outside and money in pocket is greater than 10.5. Very simple. And then I have a whole bunch of these right here. And then I say the Boolean is hot outside is true. Money in pocket is 1051. This should return true right here. So what didn't you know? It turns true. And then I just changed up the variables every time, and the rest of them would just turn false. So this is a little bit different than some other things. Both have to be positive, or both have to be true. If one of them does not equal, then it is false. All right, so, and then 13 was something I did a little bit differently. It was create a method that write our own method, basically. And I created three methods that all kind of do the same thing. So the first one is a string builder right here. And it takes string names and an array of names and an array of age. What I'm trying to do is concatenate an array of names and an age to print out the associated age of a person based on the index of the arrays. So I do another for loop, and same stuff that we're doing, but this is a little bit different. Age.name, age name.append, and then I take the names, right, and get the iterator of that. So if it's the first index, that's what it would come out with, and age would also be in the first index. And then I just concatenate the name is the age, and then I return the age name. So that's what age name is. Then we go up here and right here is something that I created a new age. But anyways, we just take the names and the new age, and string builder method prints out this at the bottom. String builder method examples, Sam is 3, Tommy is 9, Tim is 23. And that's one way of doing it. Another way I decided to do it was right here using a void method, right? Instead of doing string builder, this would be kind of what we learned on week 3. So it's similar, but there is a little bit different. The big difference is instead of age dot append, I just use age name iterator, and yeah, it's a lot simpler than this other one above. I don't have to use append. I can just use the iterator to get to it. And I built a string. I built an array out of this. So then I just print out that, and that would be this one right here. This is the array. So, and it prints out the same thing as above, right? The string builder and the array is the same way. And then I decided to do a hash map of the same thing. So this is quite a bit different than the other 2 examples. So what I do here is I take a string and an integer, and the strings are the array names and the array of age, right? So then I map it and use a hash map. This is how I initialize that. And it's this part's very similar to the past, but this is the different part. New map dot put names iterator and age iterator. So if the index was 0, names 0, age 0, and I return the map. And then we go up to here to the main method, and this is where it prints out. And this is the difference right here. So now everything, Sally is tied to 64, Buck is tied to 2, Bob 8, Tim 23, Tommy 9, Sam and 3. With hash map, it's unordered, so these can come out randomly, but they are all tied to a key, right? So the key would be Sally or Buck or Bob, and their value would be 64. So this was just a different way of doing that. And I hope you guys had some fun learning some of the stuff that I've learned this week. Thank you very much. Have a great week.